What was your favorite childhood movie? Since the home video player came on the scene, the childhood movie has become as much a staple of youth as the treasured childhood book or toy. We watch it over and over, we pretend to be the characters, we relive the story again and again. Like other children who grew up with VCRs and videotapes, I had my own favorite movie I received as a gift when I was very little. I watched it again and again, never tiring of the story of two whales frolicking in the Arctic Ocean and overcoming hardship. But as we grow older, we put aside childish things, and as technology marches on, we put aside our outdated media in favor of longer-lasting, more resistant options. Years ago, my movie was put in a box and stored in the basement. Of course, the basement can't hold everything, and eventually you have to go down there and go through everything, deciding what to keep and what to get rid of once and for all. While doing that one day, I came across an entire box full of my old movies. Was I ever surprised to find that, despite spending years in a musty basement, the magnetic tape still played as well as the day when I packed them up. Except for a few odd ones out that had been eaten by the VCR, they were completely watchable. That very night, I brought out the popcorn popper and had myself a movie night. I started with that one favorite, that classic childhood favorite. I was ready to see, for the first time since I could form solid memories, just what I had loved so much about it. The video was very strange. It didn't look like a regular tape at all. The movie description was written in yellow italics, and it had very little information about who made it, just the logo for a company I'd never heard of. The tape itself had a non-standard FBI warning, the logo for a distributor that was long out of business, and the logo for another production company I'd never heard of, both of which were different from the logo on the box. There were no credits, no names at all attached to this movie. Even the animation itself was weird. It didn't look like a regular cartoon. It looked like an oil painting that moved. You could see the individual brushstrokes change every frame. The score itself was also spooky. The opening song was just 4 notes repeated over and over with an accompanying bass line, and the rest of it was accordion, drums, and synth. It was like no cartoon I'd ever seen, and this is after years and years of watching cartoons, ever since childhood. I remembered the movie being about whales playing in the water and overcoming hardship. I had no recollection of how severe that hardship was, and I would soon be made aware of it. Every other scene had something horrific happening to the whales, and it got more severe every time. At first, it was just a whale's mother being killed by whalers off-screen, and that's how she got adopted into the pod of the main character. Later on, they were being chased by killer whales who wanted to eat them, and they hid out in a dark, sunken ship that seemed to be haunted. Frightening ghosts and sinister shapes jumped out at them, with cackling maniacally until the main character's mother came and saved them. The bulk of the movie is disjointed scenes that have little to do with ones before or after. They meet 2 walruses who, for no reason, start singing and dancing, but instead of just being a colorful kid's song, they start swimming through sunken ships full of dancing human skeletons, until they end up in some old war surplus, missiles, mines, and cannons that they accidentally detonate. The song ends with the walruses spilling some radioactive waste into the sea and then eating the fish that it kills, causing them to become very sick and lose their teeth. The whales don't even acknowledge this. When it was over, I felt sick to my stomach, and the movie changed gears so fast I had to rewind the tape to make sure I didn't imagine it. Not long after that, they encounter an oil spill, one that kills a seagull on screen as it cries and struggles to free itself. The whales have to swim under it, and it's a very tense sequence in which one whale tries to surface under the spill and suffocates on screen. We watch him struggle and gasp for air before sinking lifelessly to the ocean floor, eyes open and dead. I had to pause the tape and take a bathroom break after watching that. Throughout the rest of the movie, a whale gets harpooned and you can see the blood in the water, the main character gets sick from radiation, another character turns up dead for no explained reason, and we see a sunken city with New York's landmarks. It tries to end on a happy note with the title characters getting together and showing their future with a baby, but that's not enough to undo the damage, and it just stops with no credits, like it came into being just to frighten me. This is one of the most disturbing kids' movies I've ever seen, and I specialize in disturbing kids' movies. I remember there being upsetting scenes in other kids' movies, the death of the air conditioner in The Brave Little Toaster, the Headless Horseman from The Adventures of Ichabod and Mr. Toad, the Hell scenario from All Dogs Go to Heaven. But in this case, it was the whole movie. Instead of the frightening scenes being the odd ones out, it was the refreshingly calm scenes that were rare. The biggest question I have, in retrospect, is what kind of child was I to love this movie so dearly? I certainly understood the concept of death, so how could I watch it happen on screen again and again to characters I'd come to love? That's a question that haunts me.